Welcome to Standard Chartered Money Insights, a podcast series by Standard Chartered Bank that brings you market views and insights on the go.
Hello and welcome to today's Cut to the Chase, where we will discuss recent political developments in Britain. In football, and sorry, I refuse to call it soccer just because a large, influential nation calls a game played almost exclusively with their hands football. In football, there is a narrative that just replacing a manager who is under extreme pressure more often than not leads to a sharp upturn in fortunes. It's not clear what drives this. Is it just a release of pressure in the dressing room? Is it new training techniques? Or is it just players are trying to impress the new boss? But while I've not seen, let alone undertaken, deep statistical analysis of this phenomenon, it does appear to be a thing. UK markets have experienced a similar bounce on the expectation and now the realisation that Britain will now have a new leader. Sterling is up over 10% from its post-mini budget lows, and the 10-year UK government bond yield has fallen a whopping 1%. But as any new Premier League manager knows, while the bounce in fortunes is very welcome, the hard work is ahead. Apart from the leadership, nothing's changed. In football, that means the members of the dressing rooms are still the same. As Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, he still wakes up to a very challenging situation this morning. Consensus forecasts are for a full year recession in 2023. Indeed, the belief is that recession has actually already begun. The contraction of the economy is expected to lead to an increase in unemployment, and with consumer price inflation expected to remain over 6% next year, a cost of living crisis is unlikely to abate. And you just add in the potential gas supply shortages over the winter, and it's not a pretty picture. Finally, the fiscal deficit is expected to be a whopping 6.7% of GDP next year, which, as the outgoing Prime Minister found to her cost, constrains the abilities of the authorities to alleviate the pressures on consumer. To his credit, Sunak is fully aware of the challenges ahead. He clearly wants to bring debt down to a sustainable level as quickly as possible. Now, I'm an economist by training, and as any economist knows, you have 4 ways you can do this. First 2, grow out of it, or default, look unlikely or untenable. Therefore, a mixture of inflating it away and tightening fiscal belts are the most likely outcomes. But of course, both involve more economic hardship for both consumers and businesses. So what should we be looking out for going forward? Well, the next key test for the government will be its revised taxation and spending plan. This was due by Monday next week, although the new leadership has not confirmed this timeline, despite the fact that they've retained the services of Jeremy Hunt as the Chancellor of Exchequer. Getting the right balance between fiscal consolidation, which means raising taxes or cutting government spending, or both, and supporting growth is going to be incredibly challenging. For the GBP, this basically means we do not believe it's time to pile back into sterling. In a world where the Fed is likely to continue hiking rates aggressively into year-end at least, we believe it's too early to call time on the US dollar rally. Meanwhile, as outlined above, the challenges in the UK are still very, very real. So for us, the 115 level that we tested last night and 117.50 are the next key resistance levels for the pound against the US dollar. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to Standard Chartered Money Insights, a podcast series by Standard Chartered Bank. For more details on the latest market insights, subscribe to Standard Chartered Money Insights.